Hello, welcome to Sky Sweaty Record Review, episode 163, the only first listen new music review show hosted by a French professor immediately after leaving the YMCA. Now, this morning I woke up, alright, and I guess I don't need to say that. This morning I was kind of in a bad mood, I really miss my kids. I haven't seen them for about 2 weeks. They are somewhere in East Africa on the Indian Ocean coast with their mom. And so I'm in kind of a grumpy mood because I tried to get a hold of them. I tried to get a hold of my daughter especially. I feel like I haven't talked to her in a while. And like the connection doesn't work, and we try texting, but that doesn't quite work. So I'm like sad and I miss my kids. And after that, I sit there and I'm like trying to find the right music to review. And there's like two pretty good female singers from Norway who released albums this week. There's a couple good like techno albums. There's like this super crazy hyper like distortion crazy shoegazy music. I didn't really know what I wanted to listen to until eventually, I think somewhat subconsciously, I fell on the group I'm going to be reviewing today, Cult Dreams. Not to be confused with Dream Cult. Cult Dreams released an album called Things That Hurt. And this is another, kind of like that Shane T, another group that I'm going to be reviewing that has not a very high profile. Like, I have more YouTube subs than they do. And I'm not bragging. They are way more accomplished than I have because they made a good album and I haven't. But that's just kind of how small of a group we're talking about. And this all ties together because as I was listening to this album, I realized to some extent I chose this album because this is the best album for people who are missing their teenage daughters. So if you have a teenage or preteen daughter who's kind of punky and cool and smart and a little edgy and, likes talking about her emotions and being in touch with joy and anger and disappointment, this is the album for you. And I say that kind of jokingly, but in a way I'm actually quite serious. Part of the joy of doing 3 to 5 album reviews every single goddamn week is that like all these different moods and all these different things, all these feelings that I have and stages of my life can be met. So, I just get married and then Chance the Rapper releases an album about getting happily married, and then this amazingly helps me to connect to my daughter who I miss so much. I'm recording this video in her room, which actually, come to think of it, she might not like. I can't tell. I can't tell if she likes this show and she's proud of me and she thinks I'm cool, or she hates it and she thinks I'm lame. Answer, probably both. So, we're done. No, I'm just kidding, right? I haven't told you anything about the music. I think probably the best thing to do is just to play you the first track. I have like a hair sticking out here. What is that? What is that hair doing? That's gonna bug me. The whole. You know what? I can't get it because is that it? Oh my! Do I have to stop the video? What is that hair? I can't get rid of it. Okay, good. So it's like. Okay, I'll give you a basic idea because I looked up this band and I looked them up on Bandcamp. And in this description of themselves, they call themselves sad, lo-fi, shoegaze punk. And I think that kind of fits. Sad, just in the way that a lot of their lyrics are very angsty, very much about the difficulties of being a young woman in today's society, being dismissed, feeling invisible, being mistreated and sexually abused by men. Lo-fi, I don't really know if it's lo-fi. The fi seems pretty good to me, but it is mostly guitar and mostly distorted guitar and really good drums. And then as far as shoegazy, I do think that does fit. In particular, like not the whole way through, but often songs will have like a shoegazy chorus. And if you don't really know what that means, that's like a wall of sound of guitars. Think of My Bloody Valentine, like a wall of guitars and like vocals kind of in the background and kind of a droning quality. But usually, and this is what made My Bloody Valentine so great, little things inside of it that are catchy and draw you into the music and make it more than just a wall of sound. The lead singer, she sings with a noticeable British accent. I guess they're from Brixton. all I know about Brixton is the song Guns of Brixton, so I will have that song stuck in my head for the rest of this video. But I like that, you know, it's weird to me when British singers don't sound British, so I feel like that creates a distance. So I feel a closeness to her just by the fact that she appears to be singing in a normal way. Like I said, sometimes her vocals get lost, but when they don't, her lyrics are very earnest, but not ridiculous. By that, I mean, like, she's singing about her emotions, and at times it can seem kind of immature because, you know, she's like, I was a teenager when I cut my hair. Like, I think that's one of her lyrics. But she does it well enough, and she frames it well enough that it doesn't come across as just like silly emo sounding. It's actually pretty impressive that she's able to do that. If I had a complaint, it'd be at times it gets a little bit samey, you know. It seems like the guitars will either be distortion or like a little bit of reverb and chorus on it. It gets a little samey at times. But here, let me play you this first track to give you an idea of what I would say is when they are at their best is when they're at their most developed. There's a few songs on here that they develop pretty well. We Never Rest is a good example of that. The first two tracks, Born an Outsider and Not My Generation, they're all like that. So not Outsider, Born an Underdog. So that's the song we're going to listen to by Cult Dreams, Born an Underdog, Still Living One. So what I want you to listen for is the nice dynamics of the guitar starting pretty slowly and the vocals coming in, and then it gets more and more and it builds up more and more. And just that sense that you have of this young woman angst, which is very, I don't know, young man angst still probably outnumbers young woman angst in terms of musical output by 12 million to 1. So I think we need way more music like this. So, here we go. And I'm always trying to get my daughter to start a band. But anyways, I think she will someday. So here's Born an Underdog, Still Living One. Kind of a neat cover, sort of a dystopic suburban scene. Is Brixton a suburb? I don't know. You can tell me. So there's the kind of shoegazy guitars, long echo in the background. And here comes her vocals. Very direct and emotional.
When I was 6 years old, I got stuck on the roof of the gallery. I had climbed a tree and couldn't find my way back down from it. So they had to find someone.
So it starts like that, and then it develops over time. We're not going to listen to the entire track all the way through. I don't know. How do I get this to work? Okay. So if you hear later. So by the end it has like lots of nice drums on it. That drone gets more pronounced. And this is pretty typical of their music. In the background you hear a kind of chant that's repeated over and over again. We hate because we live too much. I don't know what that means. But you know, really strong drums, nice cacophonous wall of sound. So that's a pretty exemplary track. I would say, really, take a listen to that. Even the next track, Not My Generation. It's funny, my daughter always talks about her anger at Generation X, you know, which is me, which is really funny because I didn't get the sense that millennials were pissed at Generation X, but I definitely get the sense that this upcoming generation is. And it's a funny thing because, like, I want to be like, no, we're the ones who are pissed. It's all the baby boomers' fault. We're good. But, of course, we're not good. Every generation's terrible once they get old enough. So it's an interesting, very kind of direct song about, you know, my country's garbage, the right wing rises, and sexual harassers are everywhere. That's basically the theme. But again, it's more interesting than that, the way that she sings it and the way that they do it. And in this, you can hear like a different time signature, 6/8 maybe, I can't tell. But it's a symbol of sort of like not just straight 4/4, a little bit more developed music. And again, as it moves on, Sorry, I'm looking at my sheet of notes, my script-ish. I would say sort of one of the highlights is at the end. There's the most shoegazy tracks, Repent, Regress, and Toxins. And this is where they start using this technique of having something kind of catchy repeated over and over again. When I say catchy, I don't mean like, the Venga bus is coming. It's catchy in the way that that's catchy. Sort of brutal, like repent, regress, repent, regress, and then like they'll say that, and then her vocals will loop over it as well. It gets quite nicely textured. That's what's great about anything that tries to be shoegazy at all, is there's these textures, but it's not like synthesizer textures. It's like distortion on top of distortion, and it's challenging to listen to, but very engaging by the end. So there it is. There's my review of Cult Dreams, Things That Hurt. I don't know how I'm going to frame this album. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to just call it music to miss your teenage daughter by, because that's not what the music's about. That's my experience of it. This music isn't about missing your teenage daughter. It's about the difficulties of being a young woman in 2019, which I am not, although I am in 2019. So, I don't know. Who knows what I'm going to say for my 3-word review of this. I would say that it is sad lo-fi. I would say that it's sad, shoegazy punk, but I'll phrase it some other way. All right. So until next time, kind of trailed off there at the end. You know why? Because like I put the phone upside down because I'm in my daughter's room, and it's like sitting on top of a bench in a laundry chute on top of a garbage can. So I had to do it upside down. So I keep wanting to look over there, but the camera's not over there. The camera's over there. I'm still having this problem 1 year in. All right, so until next time, there's the camera. Where? There? I press here. Okay, so I'm back again. I took a shower, and while I was taking a shower, I was realizing I was annoyed with myself. I made that video too much about me, and I think it's something that, like, smart folks or extroverts tend to do. I do a video show about myself, and so I made a video about this album that was about how I missed somebody who the album reminded me of. So I just want to spend a couple more minutes talking about, like, the actual music, because I think I gave it a short shrift. I was sort of indicating that the lyrics aren't bad. I would actually go as far as to say the lyrics are good, because she's expressing things that are somewhat simple in a way that's not overcomplicated, but is yet complicated enough. And I'm not going to say that, she's Morrissey or whatever, but it's kind of like that, right? Like Morrissey wasn't saying anything particularly interesting, but the way that he said it was so engaging. And I would kind of put her more in that camp, again, than in sort of the kind of emo, uninteresting way. I talked a little bit about the dynamism that they're able to use, mixing together. I really want to spend a little bit more time with that one track, We Never Rest, because that's maybe the best example of their movement and their dynamism and the ability to use layered vocals and chords and guitars mixed with the lead singer's vocals that are very kind of strong and punky underneath. So I'll just play that a little bit here. So you have those other vocals in the background, and then her saying "We never rest" over and over again. I could imagine listening to this track and getting it kind of stuck in your head and having it on repeat over and over again. So good. I feel like I've talked more about the album, a little bit more about who it actually is, not just about me missing my angsty daughter. She's not angsty, but the music that she listens to often reflects whatever angst she might feel. And again, I think it's really important that there's more music like this in existence. I feel like there should be 10 albums like this every week for the next 50 years. And then maybe we'll start catching up on equality of representing human experience from a subjective position, not an objective position. And there's a lot of great stuff on this album about women being treated like objects, or her feeling like an object, and many tracks where she talks about feeling invisible or that she's only important when she's singing. A lot of interesting themes that I think need to be expressed more and more often. So check out Cult Dreams, one word, things that hurt. And subscribe to their YouTube channel so that thing I said in the beginning was stupid. Well, it was already stupid. Okay, there's the camera.